Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast Gaming Edition. Today, we are going to be talking about the Resident Evil 4 remake that is coming out in these next couple of weeks. So, we have Mrs. Carly Marlowe with us. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing well, thank you. So, Carly,
Nice.
Resident Evil 4 is coming out in a couple of weeks, but wasn't this game already made? Like, if someone's just listening to this, they're like, "Wait, Resident Evil 4? I played this like back in 2005. So what's going on with this? Is this a remake? Is what is it?"
So it is a remake. Um, the classic Resident Evil 4. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people say this is probably the best game of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was awesome when it first came out. I have a lot of memories from playing it. So back in 2005, I wasn't five quite yet. I was still about four. But my dad, he used to get me and he would babysit me, and that's what he would do when he would babysit me. He would just be playing Resident Evil, but I loved it. I could sit there and watch him for hours. It was like the easiest babysitting gig ever. It was the first mature video game I ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
um and played. Even he'd let me like throw the grenade, he'd aim it up for me so that way I can get a couple kills and shoot the birds and all that stuff. I would just sit there for hours and watch him play. So yes, this is based off of the original Resident Evil 4. It seems that they are keeping it pretty true to that original plot.
Mm-hmm. That's actually one of my questions, just to dive off. When you first heard they were making a remake, what was your initial reactions?
Oh, I was extremely thrilled. I figured since with the past remakes of the Resident Evils, they've kind of put that horror aspect back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
So this Resident Evil is not going to be as gung ho action type as the first Resident Evil 4. This one still has some action. So they brought a little action back, but they definitely have that horror aspect in there as well. So I'm super excited for that.
So what is the I guess with remakes, my always question when I'm seeing something's getting redone or a remake, I get nervous that they do take like the original aspect of it and they try to add unnecessary things or they try to make it more modern for this day and age. Are you afraid that like they're going to add some stuff in here like what the heck? This wasn't in the original game. Why is this in there? Stuff like that.
True, true. So I heard that in development, they did split um, production crews up into three groups.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your village, your castle, and then the island at the end. They're keeping it pretty true to that. I know, like I mentioned, they added some more horror aspects to the game. So there was this chainsaw demo that recently released.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen it, but they've kept a lot of similarities. I like how they added Leon knows a little Spanish now because this
Okay.
does take place in Spain.
Mm.
So that's new. I I'm not too nervous because from what I've seen so far, it looks like they're staying pretty true to the original plot. The beginning scenes are a little different. So now you're thrown into this cabin. There's multiple zombies in the cabin now, or Los Ganados is what they call the villagers.
Mm-hmm.
And in the original, there was only one, so your first encounter was just with one guy. Um, so there are new aspects, but I think it, like I said, I think it's going to stay true to the plot, which Leon is sent on a mission to rescue Ashley, the president's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
from this cult, Los Illuminados. So it's ran by Osmond Sadler. And like I said, the Los Ganados are the villagers who follow him and his cult. They wanted to return Ashley to the United States infected so he could like take over the world and whatnot. Um, a lot of the same boss fights are going to be in there. He still has his like henchmen like Salazar and Krauser,
Mm-hmm.
which is Leon's old comrade. Um, it's still third person. which is another thing. So, yeah, I'm not too worried. I'm honestly more excited.
So when this came out in 2005, that was for the PlayStation 2, right?
Yes, I think it was also on some other um, gaming systems as well. But from my experience, I played it on the PS2.
So obviously, way back then, unless you had the dial-up online, it wasn't like an online game, right?
Correct, correct.
So is
They do have like the mercenaries, and I think you could like upload your time
okay.
to
Okay.
that, but like no online play otherwise.
Are they? Is there going to be a mode like that? Because like this day and age, almost everything has to have like some online mode. Is there going to be a way you could play with others, like some game modes or survivor or a survival thing, or
That's a great question. I would assume they'd still keep the mercenaries. I know Resident Evil 4 wasn't originally just a single player game, so I believe it's still going to be single player. Um, they may have thrown in some extra game modes because I know like the past Resident Evils are usually all single player as well.
Mhm.
Like 5 and 6 are the only ones that I recall being multiplayer. Um, so it's not like out of the blue for them to keep it single player. So yeah, that's a good one. I would have to look into that actually.
Because I would think like that's a type of game where I don't because obviously you can't have just everyone be like Leon running around in like an online game, but like I don't know, you have like your pick your four and almost like a Call of Duty like zombie thing where you're trying to survive
Right,
these.
they made a survival mode, I think, for like Resident Evil 2, I believe it was. I never played it, but I think it was like you pick 4 people and you run around and kill zombies and whatnot. But yeah, that's a good question. I would have to look into that one.
But I think that would be a cool thing that they might add just to modernize it a little bit.
For sure.
With this one, because how many Resident Evils have there been?
Shoot, at least 10 of them. Have like Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a bunch of remakes, a bunch of little branched out games. They've been around since before I was born. So I don't really have memories from like Resident Evil 1. I've watched them like on YouTube and stuff, of course. And I
Mhm.
remember like I had like I believe it was Resident Evil 0 for the Wii. Oh my goodness, that was interesting to play. It had like the fixed camera and it would just kind of walk you around and you'd have to use the little Wii remote. um it almost reminds you of like the games you play at Dave and Buster's where you hold the gun.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's been a handful of Resident Evils. It's a huge franchise series, so
What because you said at the beginning of this podcast that this is widely regarded as one of, if not the best Resident Evil one. What
100%.
what personally, like, what is this one besides the memories you had as a child? Um, what makes it so good? Like, is it the gameplay, the mechanics, the graphics? Like,
All of it. So this is the first Resident Evil where it doesn't have like the bird's eye point of view camera following you. This like really threw in the action to the series. So this game was just 24/7 constant battle mode, killing all the zombies. Like the first village scene, if you know, you know. That shit's hard. The plot is phenomenal. It's a long game. It'll take you some time to finish. Um, it's kind of cheesy at points, which makes you like it too. Like the little dialogue. Leon is very witty. um, there's a lot of bosses in it, and the henchmen are also cool too. You have characters like Ada Wong, she's in here, and she's also in Resident Evil 2 and 6, and I'm sure other ones, games that I don't even haven't played. Um, I just think it's overall everything. And you have now your third person laser sight. So I'd say it's definitely the action of this one too.
Okay. What was the hardest boss fight for you in this game?
Goodness. Okay. So the hardest boss is, I believe, around the end of the game, like chapters 5, 3 or so, or somewhere around there. Oh, it's the guy, I don't know his name. It's timed. You're in this cage in the caves, and you have to shoot these lasers in this cage to open the door to the next cage. You have like 30 seconds in each cage before it drops. So if you drop, you die, obviously. This guy is relentless, and you think you make it out, and he falls in the cage. Yeah, right. He comes back. And you're in here fighting him in these caves. This man took all my ammo, all my health, all my mine darts, all my grenades. It was tough because I was playing on a professional as well. So I was struggling. But he's definitely one of the harder bosses. The fish, he always pisses me off too. He's in the earlier rounds. I suck at driving the boat. I'm always hitting the trees in the water and falling off the boat and having to slam the X button to swim back to the boat. I don't usually die, but he gives me some problems sometimes. So I'm curious to see how the mechanics of the boat driving are going to go with this one and the spear throwing, because that used to confuse the heck out of me.
Was this one
Probably
of those,
software.
like, since this was
I could go
back in
on.
the day with like older games, were there cheat codes in the game? Like, if you were really struggling, could you just be like, all right, I need to put this cheat code in, have like unlimited ammo or like super health
I've
or things like
never
that?
ever used a cheat code. I've never even looked it up
Good
for
for
this game.
you.
At least for this game, like GTA, sure, why not? But not Resident Evil or The Sims. I like to use my little cheat code and get like all the money in that one so I can build the craziest house.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, you can unlock infinite ammo by beating the game in like hard mode. You unlock the Thompson. You can get the infinite launcher, but not in Resident Evil 4. I don't think you can get all the guns infinite, opposed to like 5 or 6. So yeah.
Okay, that is good to know. Is this a game that you're gonna potentially stream on your channel?
Oh, 100%. I gained a little small following.
Okay.
So they know I like to put out some horror content, and Resident Evil is all I've really streamed so far. I tried streaming The Last of Us and I lost all my content somehow. Like the stream failed.
Mm-hmm.
That pissed me off, and I haven't really streamed since, but they'll definitely be expecting me to go ahead and put this one out there, and I am so excited.
Oh yeah, definitely will be on the lookout for that. And for people who don't know, Carly, what's your stream name? Where do you stream at?
I do stream on Twitch, and it's CKM429. It's my initials. That's everybody's like, what does that even mean? See, it's my initials and my birthday. They're like, what are all these letters? That's what I've been called my whole life. Well, it used to be CKB, of course, till I married Mr. Charles, but now it's CKM. So, yeah, I would appreciate any support there.
Carly, anything else in regards to the game? What you're thinking, graphics wise? Like, are you just is this game?
Oh my God.
It's so close. Like, it's coming out the 23rd.
Correct. Or actually, the 24th.
The
So March
24th.
24th.
So in a
Correct.
couple of weeks, is there any chance like the worst thing with games, oh, it gets pushed back, or it is fully set for?
I think they're fully set. So, like I said, they had 3 production groups work on each part. So, I'm curious to see how that's going to be thrown all together. And they have received some criticism on the game
Oh,
already, which they fixed. So, apparently, the rainfall in the game was like extreme. Like, it looked horrible. So, I heard they fixed that up. because they want to add some rain, make it all scary, have that horror element, like I mentioned, was coming back.
Hmm.
But yeah, it looked really bad. And I heard that they fixed that. Um, there's a lot of new changes to the games too. I have there's changes to the knives, or the knife that you have. So the knife is a lot more useful now. You want to use your knife more to conserve ammo, and it
Okay.
has significant damage apparently now. So like before, you couldn't really knife the enemies. I mean, you could. I used to like shoot them and get them on the ground and then knife them. But this one, you can actually like start swinging that thing at people. um, and I heard it can break and you have to repair it. They have takedown moves now in this one too.
Okay.
Like you used
Okay.
to have like your spinning kicks and suplex, like they had that in the old Resident Evil, but this is definitely a different feeling. Kind of to go with that, there's stealth now. There was zero stealth in Resident Evil 4, like zero, the original. Like I said, it was all action, like huge village battle full of 50 plus zombies coming at you. Now, they kept a lot of zombies around still, but now you have a stealth mode. So you can go up with them with that knife and get them behind their back. You have crouching now, which is a new ability.
Mm.
Blocking. So, like in the chainsaw demo that I mentioned, you used to not be able to block that chainsaw. When he was coming, your head was coming off. So now you have the ability to block him, which is interesting. Um, they always used to scare me. I was like, I got to keep my distance for these guys. Yeah, that's a new thing. Um, Another thing I wanted to talk about too
Yeah.
was Luis.
Okay.
He used to be Luis Sierra in the game, but now he's Luis Navarro. So they changed him a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe a quick little spoiler alert. So here we go.
Spoiler
He
alert.
doesn't survive in the original. He's killed by Osmond Sadler. Um, but in this game, he's around a lot more, it seems. So I'm not sure if they're keeping him alive. He's gonna help you fight certain bosses, I've heard. He'll be with you for the mine cart little part. So that's a total new aspect of the game, which is interesting. So it looks like you're gonna have a little more help. So like you mentioned earlier, it would be kind of cool to have like a multiplayer aspect of that. Like, hey, have somebody join for this part or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be with this type of game. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe they're keeping that under wraps until you get the game in
Right.
person. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm also thinking too, like in closing stuff, like when you beat the game, coming back and reviewing it to see if it lived up to your expectations.
Oh, 100%. And like I said, I'll be streaming it, so you'll definitely hear my honest opinion there too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a diehard Resident Evil fan, so I'll definitely be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
So
super excited though.
yeah, that is something that definitely we'll be watching you stream it. We'll definitely want to see your in-person reactions, and then when you have some time when you beat the story to come back, tell us like, all right,
Yes, yes.
I liked this part better in the original, but I liked this part better, like all that stuff. So we definitely want to hear from you when
Oh,
you beat the game.
100%. And I've also heard Hunnigan is still present.
Okay.
She's one of the agents that helps Leon along his mission.
Hmm.
They radio call each other, and he kind of lets her know what's going on, and she'll let him know what's going on. But I heard the calls are more real time now. So
Uh-huh.
opposed to getting like a whole little cutscene, she's gonna pop up on your screen while you're still playing the game, which is a new
Hmm.
aspect, which is pretty cool. I heard that also, so like when you go to a new part of the game, or like you go through a door that takes you to X, Y, and Z, wherever, I heard it's gonna be more fluid now as well. So you have
Hmm.
more freedom when roaming the village, the castle, the island, and whatnot, which is also kind of cool. It's almost like it's its own open world.
Okay. Okay.
um,
What was I gonna say too? I was gonna say too with that, since it's a remake, I don't know if they're adding more lines or anything like that, but are they original voice casting? Is it still the same original voices from the game, or the new voices?
They are
Or
new actors, I'm almost certain.
okay,
So, and like I said, now Leon, he knows a little Spanish since they are in Spain. Like that's a total new aspect as well.
hmm
Um, Also, one of the biggest pains in the asses that everybody would know, Miss Ashley. We didn't talk about her much. I heard that she's going to be pulling her own weight more in this one, which is super interesting. Like she was the biggest pain in the original. So I heard the creators wanted to make her more significant, less annoying this time around.
oh,
So I
is it
think
gonna
she'll be easier to take care of this time
is
around,
is it
hopefully.
gonna be weird for you hearing different voices instead of the originals you grew up with?
Well, I'll be happy not to hear hers. That sounds so
hmm
mean. She was just, Leon, help. Like, oh my goodness. Everybody knows who has played this game. She's a pain. She's tough to take care of. You either shoot her and she'll get in your way and she'll die, and she's getting kidnapped by the zombies, so you have to take care of yourself and her. It's tough. So hopefully she's able to, maneuver around a little bit better and stay out of the way. And I heard that she's gonna be easier to take care of, so that's pretty cool. And she
Awesome.
also does get her own little chapter. She did in the original as well, but for this chapter, in the original, she had no weapons. So you would have to run around and take these lanterns and throw them at the zombies and catch them on fire. That part used to give me anxiety too, because I'm like, if you miss, you're stuck in there with these zombies. And this is in the castle. So for anyone who hasn't played it, um, it's around the castle scenes.
hmm
So I've heard rumors that she may get a weapon. I don't want to say it's true because I'm not positive, but that
What
would also
weapon would you want her to have?
definitely give me a gun.
Okay.
I, I
Okay.
heard it's a handgun, but like I said, I'm not certain. I don't know if this is something they actually threw in there. Um, but yeah, that would be super cool because before she didn't do anything.
Oh
So
boy. That is interesting to giving people new weapons and all of that. But let's go. 24th of March coming out. What do you think your first stream is? You gonna wait? You gonna play it a little then stream? Or you just gonna go right dive in? And
I'm going right in. I want to start it like the day of if I can.
I'm assuming you
So
already have it pre-ordered, ready to go.
I do not. I need
Oh,
to. I need to. We just moved and stuff, so been very busy. Finally got a job.
oh,
So
congratulations.
thank you. I'll get a paycheck before the game comes out, so I'll be able to get it by the 24th at least.
Awesome. Well, and it looks like it's coming out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, X Windows, and Xbox Series X and S. So March 24th, 2023, Resident Evil 4, the remake. Carly, anything else?
Honestly, not that I have in my notes. Oh, there was actually one more thing,
Oh, go
actually.
ahead.
The attach case has also changed now and it's
Okay.
customizable. So there's this lovely character. I used to call him Mr. Merchant.
hmm
um, Basically, you used to go to the merchant for upgrading your weapon, buying health, selling your collectibles and jewels that you find around the map. Um, which he is still in this game.
hmm
So I'm curious to see with these new case um upgrades and whatnot, how he's going to play into this. But apparently, from your case, now you can upgrade weapons, craft ammo, add attachments to your weapons. So that's kind of what he used to be for. So that's going to be another interesting dynamic. Um, and he used to kind of follow you around all parts of Resident Evil 4. So he'd be at the village, the castle, the island. So he'd be around with the save points. And yeah, I don't know how that's going to work now if you're able to do all this from your briefcase. So we'll see how that works.
We're going to be watching you to find out on that. Anything else?
I'm excited to see the castle for sure. The castle was absolutely beautiful in the very first game, and given 2005, it still looked incredible.
Yeah.
I think the level of detail that they're going to put into this is going to be awesome graphically. Like awesome. And the village looks super creepy. I have not seen really any footage from the island at all. And I feel like the island is kind of the least significant part of the entirety of the game. In my opinion, I find the island kind of boring. So I'm hoping that they spice some stuff up. I feel like it also is just not scary at the island. It's just all action. I'm like, all right, give me a little something, you know what I mean? So I'm curious to see that as well.
All right.
I think that's all I got for you for now.
All right. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe. Again, Resident Evil 4, the remake, coming out March 2023 on the 24th. Make sure you check out Carly streaming that. Carly, you also have a YouTube, or do you not yet?
I do have a YouTube.
Okay. Make sure you check out Carly on YouTube as well.
Everything that I stream will go up on there. It is linked through my Twitch as well.
Perfect. So make sure you're following her on social media, following her on Twitch, following her on YouTube, so you can watch some awesome gameplay, see her real-time reactions to the game, and then she will be back on here whenever she fully beats the game to give her review on if it lived up to the 2005 original.
Yes.
And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.